Dr. D. Here we go now. Well, here we go now. To the heaven, wellness with Dr. D.
Welcome, everyone, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com this Monday, December 23rd, 2019. Happy holidays, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, winter solstice. We're here celebrating the world, ladies and gentlemen, and we're happy for whatever day you are using this to represent the eternal love that you are, that abides in your heart and dwells in the hearts of all men. That's what we're talking about, and one of the most eternally dwelling and most abiding people I know is our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean this evening, who is our fearless leader for the next 2 hours on our live talk radio program. I'm Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty, and I'll be co-hosting with Dr. Dean. And in case you haven't joined us before, this is just the most super fun and cool and groovy show ever in the whole wide world. You're going to enjoy it so much because as the momentum builds, as our enthusiasm grows, as our confidence is engendered through your engagement, you will find that you will be uniquely inspired and just energized by the fact that your body is the most amazing and miraculous thing probably on the face of this earth, and in it the trillions and trillions of cells are all communicating with each other and to each other and through each other and to spirit or non-physical, whatever you like to call it. And then on top of that, getting so much information and taking so much awareness from each other, and then the only thing that it becomes in there just every once in a while, just a little tiny thing, is that all these cells really need good nutrients to communicate. Now, those great nutrients include minerals, ladies and gentlemen, and those are just little sparky spark plugs of everything. And then we've got all the wonderful vitamins and things like that. And Dr. Carolyn Dean, having studied this for 50 years, and summarily, I might add, significantly tossing out major portions of fads and crazy ideas and everything else like that, comes to her grounding principles of magnesium, mineral deficiency, and yeast overgrowth as the basis for helping most people recover whatever malaise is within them and restoring themselves to optimal function. That's what we talk about every Monday night. And you know what? It never gets old. You know why? Because numero uno, very few people are saying it. And number two, it never gets old because the testimonials just come screeching in every single day from all over the world. People who reclaim and claim and insist on telling Dr. Dean that she saved their life. And I'll tell you what, when you're on the brink of feeling horrible for a really long time and you start to get the revitalization of your cells and you get the inspiration that you can actually recover, that does feel really good. And it does feel like somebody saved your life. Now, Dr. Dean, does she do that on her Monday night show? Well, no, of course not, because the FDA does not like her to give medical advice or save anybody's life for that matter. But what she does like to do is talk about what she would do if she were in your shoes and then report on what she expected and then came to discover. So that's the really fun part. Now, let me also remind you, this is a talk show, which means we talk and you talk. We talk, you talk, we talk, you talk. So we do encourage you to call in and talk with Dr. Carolyn Dean. 602-666-6027 is the number. This is a live show this evening. Last week we weren't here because Carolyn had a little snafu with the travel arrangements coming back and forth between where she lives and where she was doing some business. So we didn't have her on the show last week, but we've got her here right now, live and in color, and she'd love to take your phone calls this evening. We're going to answer our mailbag. We're available on our public chat room here at AchieveRadio.com, and we'd love to engage with you in whatever way you see fit. So without further ado, I will bring her on, the most delightful and delicious, absolutely, such a wonderful, wonderful woman. And doctor, as a matter of fact, medical doctor, and naturopath, our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean.
There it is. There's my cue. The children are so happy that we're back, and I'm happy to be back. Thank you, Ginny. We did miss last week, but what did we play last week, Ginny? What did Bill put up for us? Do you recall?
Well, last week we were going to do a show on, yeah, I do. I remember because I actually kind of went back through the archive and found something similar. So what we were going to do last week was, should I quit taking magnesium when I feel better?
Right.
And, this is what that's a big mistake a lot of people make. So I kind of went through and found something in the archive that was similar. I think it was from October of 2018. It wasn't quite that topic, but it was close.
Right. And we have to be wary of that. That's why we keep saying to people that Remag is not a drug that you take in order to get rid of a symptom, and when the symptom is gone, you can stop the Remag. We're educating people, and we have a huge customer service staff to help educate people that magnesium is necessary for 80% of known metabolic function, and that includes about 1,000 enzyme processes. So if you've got hypertension, which is our topic of today, and you think, well, I don't want to take a drug, I'll take Remag and my hypertension will be gone. Well, when you're taking Remag, you're taking it for the 1,000 metabolic functions, not just for your blood pressure. So we will get people who say, well, my blood pressure's not gone. But then when through customer service, we sort of ask all the questions that, well, yeah, I am sleeping better, or, half a dozen other things, or shifting, but my blood pressure is still not gone. And we'll get to that. We'll get to some of our mailbag and what happens when people think things aren't working out for them the way they want them to. It's quite fascinating. I mean, I love this work. It's like being a detective all the time. I love detective stories, and I know it's because I love the detective part of medicine, especially the way we do medicine or the way we do health balancing. So what we're doing today is, as I said, this topic about hypertension, but let's begin as we are going to begin our program each week. We want you to refer your practitioner. We want the name of your practitioner, someone who you think would be interested in magnesium, someone who you would have wanted to tell you about Remag early on in your health history so that other people can be helped, because what we'll do then is take the name, send a package, a practitioner kit. Jackie will do the follow-up, and people will be educated in your doctor's office about Remag so that they can get the benefit like you do. We'll tell you to use the referral candy so that you can get your 15% discount on your next order, which will at least pay for your shipping. And as much as you buy, you'll get the 15% discount. That's how we share the blessings of our products. We want you to go to the RNA Reset homepage and click on the research button and get your blood testing done with the home blood test kit for RBC magnesium, TSH for your thyroid, vitamin D, and omega-3 fatty acids. We have to find out if the recommendations we're making are working, and if your blood is not reflecting that, then we want to know about it and give you pointers and help fine-tune. I know I haven't been a big fan of blood testing over the years, but that's because the test can be done in 5,000 different labs with no standardization. This home blood test kit goes to one lab. If we have a question, we can just phone up the lab director and say, hey, how about this? It makes a big difference. I also talk about our magnesium deficiency survey. We're up to about 8,500 people answering now, finding out that this general population that's coming to us, 64% have anxiety, 63% insomnia, 51% muscle cramps, 46% heart palpitations, 42% restless legs, and 20% headaches. So that should tell you something, sadly. Okay, now this is a special. We've never done this before. It's about our, I call it a Christmas sweetness excerpt here. It's about our customer of the year. So here's what happened. Through customer service, I got an email from Ashley who said, "Good evening, Dr. Dean. I wanted to reach out to you as the holidays near. My mother-in-law is a huge supporter of your products. She has read your book multiple times as well as sent copies to numerous family members and friends. She strongly believes in you and your products. She has advocated for her brother, sister, children, grandchildren, housekeeper, and several neighbors to enhance their well-being and improve their overall health. When asked what she wanted for Christmas, she said, magnesium would be great. I use a lot of it. As her daughter-in-law, I would love to give her a memorable gift. As strong an advocate as she is, I thought it would be incredible if you could provide her with something unique." So this is what we did. I wrote to Christine. She may be listening to tonight's show. Hello, Christine. You may not have gotten my card yet, but I said in a card to her, "Your daughter-in-law, Ashley, didn't know it, but when she asked me to send you something special for Christmas, she nominated you for our Customer of the Year, and you have won that award. It's not just that you have captured the heart of your daughter-in-law, but you have been spreading the word about magnesium and Remag to anyone who would sit still. You order all the time, sometimes 4 times a month. You order everything, even the homeopathy kit. And Ashley says you've memorized the Magnesium Miracle. For all these reasons, you are our Customer of the Year. I will announce your award on our December 23rd radio show and mail this Hawaiian Christmas card along with a turtle print to you today. Mele Kalimaka means Merry Christmas in Hawaiian, and I wish you the best Christmas ever. Much aloha and mahalo, Carolyn." Now, I'm also going to ask Ginny if, at her discretion, she'll put together a little Christmas basket of products for Christine, because when someone orders that much, like every week there's an order for a while, she's ordering for other people. She's not just ordering for herself. That's a kind of a once-a-month deal. But this person, this woman, this lovely mother-in-law, and I love it when daughters-in-law love their mothers-in-law. I have a daughter-in-law here this weekend, and I love my daughter-in-law. So we know how special mothers and daughters-in-law are. And Ginny is going to send out a Christmas package to Christine. And thank you very much, Ashley, for being such a wonderful daughter-in-law. Any comment, Ginny?
Yes. Yeah, I just think, what's not to say? It's fantastic. We have the best customers, and we've got, this customer is a model for. We have so many customers who do this, and we're very fortunate to be able to recognize this gal. And I wish we could recognize every single one of our customers who take this kind of stand and do this kind of activity all the time. And we just thank every single person, every single ambassador, every single family member, every single public servant, every single doctor, every single healthcare professional who is advocating for magnesium awareness and for our products specifically, and advocating for people's health. It's just phenomenal. We're so very, very grateful. So what a gift. It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And what comes to mind is Deb West, how she helped her butcher with his arthritis, and she says every time she goes into that shop, she gets the best greeting in the world because she helped him. I don't know if she gets extra meat out of it, but that's the gift. When you can help someone, they will never forget. And so that's where it gets passed along and passed forward, where when you can help someone with their health, it never stops giving back. So thank you, everybody. Okay, this week's blog, I've mentioned, it's titled A Healthy Solution for Hypertension. Excuse me. And it's at drcarolyndeanlive.com. It's right on the homepage there. You can send that out to people, or the email you got, you can send this along. Hypertension is an elevation of blood pressure suffered by more than 50 million Americans. Most often, it's diagnosed during a routine physical examination. It presents usually in the beginning no distinguishing signs or symptoms until it's advanced. Normal blood pressure is 100 to 140 over 60 to 90. But actually, since I wrote this, they've dropped the top number. It's now the top number 100 to 130 over 60 to 80. So they're calling people hypertension, long before they used to, just so they can put them on drugs, because they know they're not winning the battle on hypertension, so they think they have to give more drugs earlier. Systolic, or the top pressure, relates to the pump pressure that the heart muscle creates to push blood into the arteries out of the heart. The diastolic pressure is the bottom number, and that pressure is the pressure that the arteries maintain when the heart is supposed to be relaxed between heartbeats, and that keeps the arteries open. Hypertension is either primary or secondary. Primary is said to have no single cause, and that occurs in 90% of all hypertensive patients. So just think about that. What is it? 50 million people, Americans, have hypertension. 45 million of them, they don't have a clue why. So they just leave it to, well, we don't know why, but we're going to give you this drug just in case it might help. But when you look at the total biology of hypertension, what have I got here? High blood pressure in men is something outside the house that they consider their territory that they want to control or conquer. So that's where, men who, run a business outside the house, there's something bothering them about that business, so they get tight and tense and hypertense. Now, you get tight and tense and go into spasm when you're magnesium deficient. I mean, that's it. That's the reasoning behind it. Now, let's look at the other words here. Hypertension, it's related to the way the heart pushes the blood through the arteries. Compare the heart to your house. Blood from the house goes out along the arteries to the outside where I work. The veins are the way back to the house. When something that touches the arteries, which is outside the house, needs to be controlled, they call it a male aspect. They do call the return of blood to the house in the veins more female, more like the varicose vein problem. However, hypertension, it's not a male-female thing at all. It's just sort of the control aspect is called more the male aspect. For example, a woman age 83 was part of a reading group. They were reading 3 to 4 books a week from the library. Every time there's a meeting, she wants to go to the meeting, but often she can't go. She's trying to control the meeting from home, so the tension gives her hypertension. I don't know if that's coming across. It made a lot of sense to me. And when I say it, or used to say it to in my consultations, people would kind of understand what I was getting at. So what medicine is saying is that 90% of all hypertensive patients, there's no single cause. They will say, maybe smoking, they'll put cholesterol in there, they'll put stress in there. But I'm saying you have to look at magnesium deficiency and control outside the home. The necessity to keep blood pressure as low as possible may be another myth of modern medicine, just like cholesterol. In the past decade, the so-called normal value for high blood pressure has been lowered to the point that a majority of Americans now fall in the pre-hypertensive category, as I mentioned. White coat syndrome has your heart beating faster and your blood pressure rising when anyone in a white coat comes at you wielding a blood pressure cuff. Your blood pressure automatically rises in a fight-or-flight reaction because you're afraid of your doctor will tell you that your blood pressure is elevated. Blood pressure that is normal at home but high in the doctor's office is white coat syndrome, not hypertension. It's not life-threatening, and it doesn't need to be treated. But I've been reading articles lately that talk about doctors wanting to treat white coat syndrome. So all white coat syndrome is a normal reaction to acute stress. Certainly high blood pressure is to be avoided, et cetera, et cetera. As we recommend magnesium be incorporated into any hypertension program, we also recognize that some people need medications, and especially those with symptoms. But many individuals can successfully incorporate their magnesium along with their medication, and as the blood pressure is reduced, then a person under their doctor's care can reduce their medication. Now, what's interesting about Ginny bringing this up about the hypertension and how we know from studies, and I'll get to them, that magnesium is useful in the treatment of magnesium-deficient hypertension. We go through, ups and downs with our FDA giving us information where now our consultants are telling us that we're making too much of magnesium, especially my article booklet called about the 65 conditions that can be associated with magnesium deficiency. And I've got studies to back that up, but what we have to do is dial way back, and this is partly as well, or mostly actually, because Google is teamed up with the FDA, and they demote people from the search engines if they're not quoting the FDA. So what I've had to do is look at magnesium deficiency, the evidence-based health benefits of magnesium through the lens of the NIH. And what they will allow us to say, it appears, is that there are 5 conditions that can be benefited by magnesium supplementation. That's hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, and migraine. Now, it kind of means very little because nobody's listening. They're not going out to doctors. They're not sending magnesium reps out to doctors. They're not doing big papers, white papers, blogs, documentaries saying, look, hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, and migraine can all be treated with magnesium. It's just in a fact sheet on the NIH website, and you can read it. The paper that I'm downsizing now to the 5 conditions, I talk about, as I said, evidence-based health benefits of magnesium. And this is how I'm sort of positioning my position. I'm saying, erring on the side of caution, the NIH's Office of Dietary Supplements recognizes 5 disease indications for using supplemental magnesium. This office was created by the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act of 1994, established in 1995 within the NIH Office of Disease Prevention. Admittedly, the NIH role in dietary supplements is to prevent nutrient deficiency diseases. I asked this at a meeting once. Why aren't you telling people to take more supplements to treat disease? Oh, no, that's not our mandate. Our mandate at the NIH is to prevent nutrient deficiency diseases. And this is where, for example, with vitamin C, the RDA of vitamin C is 60 milligrams. But who's taking 60 milligrams? I mean, 60 milligrams we have in our restructure, so you get your RDA in our restructure. But people are taking hundreds of milligrams of vitamin C because it's been proven more and more of its importance and its requirements in the body. So anyway, they're not out to treat disease. And as you know from the AMA, they say the only way to treat disease is with drugs and surgery. So, as I said, admittedly, the NIH role in dietary supplements is to prevent nutrient deficiency diseases, not to treat disease. So it is important to note that they do recognize 5 diseases that can be treated, at least in part, with magnesium. I found another 60 diseases that can be associated with magnesium deficiency, which the NIH will likely recognize once more studies are done. Why the caution? It's likely because there's so much unvetted information on the Internet these days that so-called health authorities don't want anybody to be misinformed. So they limit the information that dietary supplement companies can release to the public. Any information supplied must be evidence-based, and that means with studies. The Office of Dietary Supplements does provide very thorough health information fact sheets about magnesium for the public and for practitioners. The list of what magnesium can do for us is impressive and undeniable. And I quote from the NIH fact sheet. Now, they've still got that it's a cofactor in 300 enzyme systems. They haven't caught up to the most recent 1,000. They say it regulates diverse biochemical reactions in the body, including protein synthesis, muscle and nerve function, blood glucose control, blood pressure regulation. It's required for energy production, oxidative phosphorylation, glycolysis. It contributes to the structural development of bone, required for the synthesis of DNA and RNA, required for the production of the antioxidant glutathione, plays a role in the active transport of calcium and potassium ions across cell membranes, a process that is important for nerve impulse conduction, muscle contraction, normal heart rhythm. And then, as I said, the fact sheet goes on to say that the following conditions have been researched and found to benefit from supplemental magnesium. It's not a long list as I would have, but as I noted, the health authorities are being very conservative, and that's where they list hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, and migraine. Now, what happens next is they cite sources, and so I'm kind of quoting from the NIH fact sheet and giving my commentary. I say, it's very difficult to conduct scientific studies that isolate magnesium from other nutrients to find out its effects on various organ systems or diseases because nutrients work synergistically. However, researchers try to do their best with inadequate budgets that effectively limit the size of their studies. The NIH magnesium fact sheet reports on 34 studies with a total of 1,700 people studied for 3 to 26 weeks, which means there was only an average of 50 people in each study. Compare this to a meta-analysis of hypertension drug treatment trials where 29 studies enrolled 162,000 patients in a 2 to 8 year follow-up trial for 700,000 patient years. That's what we're up against, folks. 1,700 people studied for 3 to 26 weeks compared to 700,000 patient years over the 2 to 8 years. So, in spite of the lack of funding and the small trials, according to the NIH, researchers have found that magnesium supplementation does lower blood pressure to a small extent, and that effect increases with dosage. So they can't deny that something is happening. And then I write about the studies that they've done, and I quote the studies and talk about the side effects of diuretics, and my common scenario where someone goes to the doctor for a checkup, their blood pressure is high, so they're put on diuretics, and then their blood pressure gets worse, and then they're put on more blood pressure drugs, and then their cholesterol and their blood sugar are elevated, and then they're put on a couple of more drugs. And that's what we have happening. Now, here's in the midst of writing all this, and before I knew what topic Ginny was going to put up, we had correspondence from a customer through customer service. She says, I now am using 1 teaspoon of Remag per day. I had worked up to more, but loose bowels got me. Remag is about half a teaspoon. I'd heard other people say that Remag can cause more anxiety. This really seems to be true for me. I'm sleeping or not sleeping worse than ever. I'm sleeping 2 hours per night while taking sleep herbs. I drink as much water as possible. I do take a health food store probiotic. At this point, the one question that is important that my doctors here don't seem to care is if I have to take a blood pressure medicine, which it seems I have to, which one would be the best for me so I don't undo my progress with magnesium. Now, there was a lot more correspondence before I got the note, but I said to this person, I know you would like to report that Remag cured your hypertension, but let me tell you the reasons why it may not be working as you hoped. First of all, as I'm sure you know, Remag is not a blood pressure drug. It's a mineral that is necessary to make 1,000 enzyme processes work in the body, amounting to 80% of known metabolic functions. And in order for it to work, you need enough of it to saturate the cells and build up in storage sites for times of extra stress. 2, the RDA for magnesium is set very low at 350 to 400 milligrams per day. Many of us magnesium experts say we need at least 600 milligrams per day. And if we have magnesium deficiency conditions like high blood pressure, we may need 900 to 1,200. I had to take 1,200 milligrams a day for a year and a half to put my heart palpitations and leg cramps behind me. 3, I know you said that you get loose bowels with higher doses of Remag, but there are things we can tell you to do to stop that from happening. The hard truth is that 1 teaspoon of Remag a day is only 300 milligrams and will only take care of the bare minimum of magnesium functions, so it's not going to help with high blood pressure. It's not that Remag isn't working, it's that you aren't taking enough. 4, Remite minerals are also necessary for hundreds of metabolic functions, and the amount a person needs to get anything done is 1.5 teaspoons a day. 5, the anxiety you mentioned is likely from the body chomping at the bit, wanting more magnesium and not getting it. And I said, Megan, one of our customer service people, has sent you a lot of information already, and now she will send you the FAQ about preventing and dealing with loose stools, and also my blog called When Magnesium Makes Me Worse. As Megan says, we know the minerals work, but you have to take enough of them and sip them through the day to allow them to do their job. You can also read my Heart Health book and really get a sense of what is happening with high blood pressure and how to overcome it. So that's kind of what we're up against with people who, they don't want to bother customer service. They don't tell us they're having loose stools, so they cut back and then wonder why Remag isn't working. And I had an email from Carol. She said, I noted the topic of your show, and I wanted to share what we heard from our Oriental medical doctor about my husband, who's 92. The doctor said that hypertension was a non-issue and that my husband should look to not losing weight. Apparently that was a much greater risk to death with weight loss than with any hypertension. And then she says, my husband does get, I think, much more magnesium anyway, and his blood pressure is very healthy. And I answered, I used to think the statistics on weight loss in the elderly were due to the increased incidence of cancer messing up the statistics. But it can be a lack of zinc, which leads to loss of taste and appetite. And Remite, of course, has zinc. It can be no energy to make meals, and people who are magnesium deficient have no energy, or apathy, and that's magnesium deficiency, or inactivity leading to muscle mass loss. And there's also a relative dehydration in the elderly because they don't like to drink because it makes them run to the bathroom to urinate. So this relative dehydration acts like a diuretic and reduces the blood pressure. So, yeah, the blood pressure may not be high in a lot of elderly. And then I said we have great results in our elderly population with the minerals, restructure, RNA reset drops, and realign. The appetite comes back, energy returns, sleep is better, et cetera, et cetera. She wrote back, okay, we're on them. We're on it. So that's my very lengthy intro. I'll ask Ginny what comments she has. Go ahead, Ginny.
Very good. Excellent. Yeah, it's all part of our experience of growing. I'm just glad hypertension's on the list because it's something that people do really get a quick fix with the Remag for, that and insomnia. I didn't hear you mention insomnia. That's too bad. But hypertension is awesome, and with the FDA recalling hypertension drugs right and left, like losartan and others that are being made in China and India, it seems like there's just a whole 724,000 people. 724,000, there we go. 720, that number of people who were on that crazy losartan who had to find an alternative. So, I mean, we're in a great situation to be able to help any health condition, anything that we can do. It's just exciting, and to know how quickly Remag goes to work. And I do wonder now, since we have the situaciones where they're saying that the FDA and the NIH is in agreement that these can actually be beneficial, if we can restore the testimonials that we once took down from our website, where all those people who had the blood pressure relief were testifying about that, and then the one of our other FDA consultants, we have so many, suggested that we take them down because it was health claims, and health claims were inappropriate. But maybe now that they're, peeking out, underneath and saying, well, hypertension, maybe we can put those back. And cardiac issues, right? That'd be cool.
Okay. We'll reach out. We will reach out about that. Very good.
We will be reaching out. So, yeah, it's very exciting, and we're going to do whatever we can do within, anyway.
Yeah, within the constraints. Yeah, I mean, we don't like to be constrained. Me and Ginny,
No.
Are you kidding? Do not constrain us. Stand back. But
we're not.
When we are so tuned into our customer population, we will never do anything to jeopardize the ability to get your products. I mean, you remember when Grown by Nature, who we used to recommend for vitamin C, I mean, regularly they would be out of business because of label compliance problems. They just weren't getting it right, and I don't know if they were just digging their heels in or what they were doing, but it made it very difficult for their customers who probably were very desirous of those products. They couldn't get them. We will never do that. We will never put our customers in the position where we are non-compliant. I mean, Ginny is so compliant, it's crazy. We are totally committed to doing our FDA compliance to the letter. But what I'm talking about here is more how the Internet is being manipulated, where Google is hand in glove with the NIH and the AMA, so that when you Google things now, the first thing that comes up is all the medical, all the allopathic, all the government stuff. And that's where we're using Bing now. I have Bing as my dedicated browser. And I think it's better, but you have to take with a grain of salt things that are on the first page of Google now, because it's all bought and paid for by the government and the pharmaceuticals. So there.
Yeah, and what they're saying Google quality standards are about, and I've been investigating this because I want to be more knowledgeable about it. What is the whole thing about? And basically what they're saying is they're just trying to prevent scammers and hackers and lackers and all the rest of this. But, digging deeper, I think it's a little suspect. And also it's funny because one of their big things is expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And on the citations and the information that is provided on your web pages, and I would go to the map for Carolyn on that. Carolyn has written most of the content on magnesium in the last 15 years. Dr. Cyrus and Dr. Mercola and all these people who have posted tons of information about magnesium, gratefully so, are quoting her. I mean, she is the authority on magnesium. She has written the book. She's got all these things. She's worked with Mildred Seelig. She's worked with Bella Altura. She sat in round tables. She's been at the NIH. You want to talk about expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. When it comes to magnesium, forget it already. So, and she's quoted in so many articles, and we're backlinked to so many different kinds of things. I mean, this is just incredible. So, there is just, you have to kind of really hash all this out and read between the lines and the layers of what's happening. But we will have our way with these things, as we are wont to do. We'll hash it all out.
Right. Very good. Very good. Well, I do have mailbaggy things, but do you want to do chat and phones?
Well, we do have phone callers, and I hate to keep them holding, unnecessarily. So let's do this. Let's take a couple of phone calls before we go to the top of the hour, and then we'll resume with mailbag and other phone calls at the next hour. And, of course, This is when the show continues to accelerate and get more fun, because it's so much fun to have the interaction with our callers, and we really do appreciate you calling in, especially during the holiday season when you could be out shopping and things. So it must be important is what I think about that. So let's go to the phones, and let's start with area code 513, the great state of Ohio and the beautiful area of Cincinnati. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and state your question or comment.
Hi, my name is Emily. Hi, Ginny. Hi, Carolyn.
Hello.
Hi, Emily.
It's such an honor to be talking to you. I've been a big fan for quite some time now, so it's an honor to finally be able to talk to you. So I'll get right into it. I'm 35 years old, and I'm in the middle of a full-body meltdown, yeast overgrowth, multitude of autoimmune symptoms. I'm currently taking 5 teaspoons of Remag and 2.5 of Remite in my sea salted water. I also use Pico Silver, the RNA Reset Drops, your Whole Seed Reset, Restructure, and soil-based probiotic. I also do the psyllium and bentonite both morning and night, and rotate antifungals. I've been taking the Remag and Remite since the end of October. I've been building up, but it's been a month at the full dose now. So my first question is, I'm drinking the minerals in 1.5 liters of water because based on my weight, that's how much of the sea salted water I'm supposed to be drinking. Is that too much? Should I be putting the Remite in just 1 liter of water and then drinking the additional water separately, or is it okay that I'm putting it in 1.5 liters?
Oh, it's certainly okay, Emily. It's in 1.5 liters. It'll dilute it more and make it less sharp because you're on a good amount. But it's fine.
Okay, great. And then my second question is the water that I drink is a silica water. It's Fiji silica water, and it says on the bottle that it has electrolytes in it. Do I need to still be adding the sea salt for those electrolytes, or is that too much then?
Okay, silica water. I'm binging it now, so silica water, that's what mineral-rich water. Okay, let's see. Well, silica, we have some in our Restructure. Silica is very good. I'm trying to see what's in it because
the bottle says that it
it
says it goes over a volcanic rock and it has natural electrolytes. And so I didn't know if by adding my Celtic gray sea salt, if that's too much.
Right. It's okay. I've got the mineral content: potassium 3, calcium 36, magnesium 3.7. It's got more calcium, but the RDA of calcium is 600. But see, this is what happens with waters. A lot of water is high calcium, and even in this, what they're calling healthy water, I suppose, it's got 10 times the calcium to magnesium. And the amounts aren't that high, but this is the concern of that I have about this whole mineral water business. To me, mineral water should be high magnesium. So the way they've talked about this, the sea salt has 72 minerals. This probably has other minerals, but I would still be adding the sea salt. And I'm glad you're taking, some extra Remag, for that little bit of calcium. I guess I'm just being a little too nitpicky about this, but I'm just using this mineral content of silica waters to explain that most mineral waters are high in calcium. Okay. So next question.
Good to know. Yes. So since I started taking the minerals, a few things have gotten worse, which is, to be expected. But my primary concern is that for the first time in a very long time, I did not get a menstrual cycle this month. And I was surprised by that because for a long time I've been very sick with this full body meltdown, and actually I was dangerously underweight for quite some time. I was one of your rare underweight with yeast overgrowth people, and So even when I was at my lowest weight, which is 105 pounds, and I'm 5'8", I was still getting a cycle even last month. Now this month, within a month, I have gained 16 pounds because I stopped doing keto and the yeast diet based on the advice of my
We lost you, Emily.
Can you hear me?
Okay, you're back now. Yes, I hear you. You said you stopped doing keto and the yeast detox. Go ahead.
Yes, because my naturopath was just concerned that I was too underweight to be cutting all of those carbs. So I added back in a bunch of carbs and a lot of fat, and I've gained quite a bit of weight very quickly, which is good because for a long time I was not absorbing nutrients at all. So I'm glad that I've gained the weight, and I wondered if you thought perhaps the reason I wasn't getting my cycle was that I gained weight so quickly, or if you thought it had to do with...
No, here's what's going on. Now, first of all, I agree with your naturopath. It seems to me from what little bitty I know so far is that you went into the yeast detox too fast. I would have done the minerals at full dosage for 3 months to really build everything up before I start, because as you said, things have gotten worse. Well, that's your yeast detox, your Herxheimer reaction, and the lack of the menstrual cycle. To me, I mean, I'm just out on a bit of a limb here, but I'm saying that you're a lot less toxic, because what a menstrual cycle is getting rid of toxins.
Interesting.
So I think... Yeah, now your cycle will come back, but it's just there's the getting rid of toxins or a bit of a shock from, surging your body with the minerals. I mean, it's a shift. You did a shift and your body responds. Oh, my gosh, let's just stop everything. Step away from everything. But you sound great. You sound healthy for all that you've been through. I think you're on the right track. I think the worst is over.
That's so great, and I love that when you say the worst is over, because really since I've been hearing you say that, and since I started taking your products, it has been true.
Yes.
And I didn't believe it, and so I'm very grateful. So I need to thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm trying to be patient because I know I still have a long way to go, but I'm just really grateful for you and your customer service team and your products. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and I get your impatience, and that's why, I came out of the chute saying you went into the yeast detox too fast. For someone who's been suffering as much as you have, but you're determined. I don't like to use the word desperate. You are no longer desperate. Like I said, the worst is over. But you can know now that you're on the right path, and you can just take it easy and make everything you do be positive and beneficial, and not have to go through bad, any more weight loss or Herxheimer. You can do it at a pace that keeps you healthy and not have to suffer. There's nothing in, no pain, no gain. We are not interested in that. Okay?
Right. One last thing. So my temper has been really bad, and this is troublesome because I have a 14-month-old baby, and that is one of the things. I wouldn't say desperate, but very determined to get over this, because my temper worries me, and it worries my husband as well. So I wondered if you had thoughts on where that might be coming from, if it's adrenal perhaps, or I don't know.
Well, I would have a temper too if I'd been through what you've been through and still are going through, and you're on the edge of finding out, OMG, I could have been taking these minerals and the Realign with the B vitamins, and I could have been better. I know. You should be hitting something. But what you'll do is Google the Bach flower remedies for anger and take those, and you'll be fine. Okay?
Okay. Flower remedies. Okay. All right, great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carolyn. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, Emily. Good talking to you. Merry Christmas.
You too. Merry Christmas. Likewise. Have a good evening.
Yep.
Oh, bless her. And we only have a minute to the top of the hour, so callers that we've got in Minnesota and New York and other places, just hang in there, and we'll be right back, and we'll get you in the next hour. But I just want to say that little blessed Emily, oh, my gosh, Carolyn, if I had a baby and I was feeling like that, I can't imagine how frustrating that must be.
No.
Right?
No, and you heard Emily's voice. She's strong. She's determined. She's going to get there. She's making use of our resources. It's fabulous. I really applaud her, and she's going to do great.
Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with host Ginny.
Absolutely. I agree. All right. We'll be right back, everybody. And Belinda, we'll get to your comments, too. We'll be right back. Hour 2 coming up.
You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
What city plays?
The old categories. They don't apply anymore. And we're just superhuman, discarnate things right now.
What city plays?
We're well beyond the categories for men and women right now. And we're just superhuman, discarnate things right now.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
Bring back the
Give
body.
me body.
I do advocate immediate fast to bring back the body.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
AchieveRadio.com. Here we go now. Go to the Carolyn. Here we go now. Here we go now. The wellness scene with Dr. D. Here we go now. Well, here we go now. Go to the Carolyn. The wellness with Dr. D.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. So happy to have you this holiday season, whether it's Kwanzaa or winter solstice or Hanukkah or Christmas, whatever it means to you. We're just happy that you're here with us, and we're happy that you're healthy and you're alive and vibrant and you're committed to your health and the health and well-being of others, and that's what this show is about. And, of course, we're led by our fearless leader, Dr. Carolyn Dean, who is the author of The Magnesium Miracle, as well as 110 Kindle books and all of our free resources at drcarolyndeanlive.com, all of our product books and all of our books on medical conditions or health conditions that will be improved as you restore your mineral balance in your cells and in your organs and in your tissues. And we're so grateful to have her with us. She is truly our fearless leader and such a gloriously wonderful woman and a beautiful doctor and a naturopath, just incredible credentials. And what's even more incredible is she just likes to jump on the phone and talk to people on Monday nights and encourage them, like our good little friend Emily, who was just with us in the first hour. And I'm going to put some notes to you, Emily, too, on the chat line about box flower remedies so you know what they are and what you can expect from using them for the anger thing. So that's very exciting. So we're going to take some phone calls in this hour. We're going to do mailbags.
Ginny.
We're going to talk. Yes.
Ginny.
Yes.
Ginny. Yes. the follow-up with Emily, the Bach flower is called Holly, but I guess it would be in my Future Health Now encyclopedia about pregnancy and childbirth and all that. What I recommend to women after delivery is to, of course, get their magnesium and their remite for the zinc. Zinc and magnesium are depleted during pregnancy. The thyroid is also depleted, and that's why the remite is important. But there is a homeopathic remedy called Ignatia, Ignatia, and it's the St. Ignatius bean. And let's see if I can find some words here. I used to think that it was related to women who gave birth and then just didn't realize how overwhelming having a baby is. Now, as Emily said, she's got total body meltdown plus a baby. And I think they've updated what they're saying about remedies now. They're saying this remedy is for anxiety. It's not really just for anxiety, but just look up Ignatia and maybe just if a person found a homeopath, it would be better to use a remedy like this. You might not need the remedy, Emily. The holly might be all you need. So I'll say, Plan B is Ignatia, and you can research it. Actually, what you can do is consult with our homeopath. Okay, our homeopath.
Yeah, consult with Mary.
Yep.
Ignatia's in our kit, Carolyn.
Ignatia's in our homeopathic kit. Of course it is. Oh,
yeah,
that's so sweet.
It's in our homeopathic basic kit, and when you get that, you work with Mary Aspinwall, and she'll help you with it, Emily. Mm-hmm. Get the kit, talk to Mary, and hook yourself up, and then you'll really be cooking with some serious gas.
Yes, and actually, Emily, we do recommend the kit for mothers because with children, when they get what they get, then you'll have the remedies at hand. There's 30 or so remedies, and there's a little booklet. I've written a free booklet as well about the kit, so that when a baby starts, runny nose or rubbing at their ears or their eyes are red or whatever, there are remedies for all these things, so that it really relieves the parents when they know they can turn to a homeopathic remedy, because otherwise it's racing to the ER and getting prescribed a medication, and that's another stress and strain on a mom. So Ignatia, the homeopathic basics kit, you can download the free booklet about it first, Emily, and see what it entails and see if that's something that you'd be interested in. We don't want to put more pressure on you. You're going to start with the Bach Flower Remedy Holly. You can get that on Amazon or Vitacost, and then go from there. Okay.
Yeah. Very good. Lots of options for Emily and all. Yeah, it's very exciting.
And all.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk to our good friend up in Twin Cities, Minnesota, area code 612. Thank you for holding patiently. Area code 612, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question.
Jane. Hello, I'm Jane.
Hi, Jane.
Hello,
Go ahead.
I'm Jane. Can you hear me?
Yes, Jane. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good to hear.
Hey.
From
Go
you.
ahead. What have you?
You're back.
What's your question?
Well, I called you and talked to you 2 weeks ago because I was concerned about my magnesium level. I was diagnosed a deficiency in magnesium in 1999. I had 41 intravenous magnesium treatments during the following year, and I've been doing quite well since that with the magnesium, but I've developed a lot of other things in the meantime, like osteoporosis, hypertension, hypercholesteremia, CREST syndrome, and thyroid nodules.
Right.
But the magnesium was my major concern when I called you, because I had this cardiac event, I guess I'll call it, where I had extreme rapid pulse rate, and then...
Right. Jane, I do have all that. I have all the words you told me before. So are you phoning about a follow-up? How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling better. I started out with a half a capsule of Remag twice a day.
Right.
After a week, I went up to a full cap, but then I started to develop loose stools, and so I cut back again. And that's where I'm at right now.
Well, Jane, let me just ask you this. Are you taking that half to full cap all at once in water, or are you sipping it through the day?
I put it in a pint of water and sip it through the day, and a pint of water at night, and I usually wake up 2-3 times during the night, and by the morning I've consumed the second pint.
Right. Now, you may have gone up a bit too fast. You know,
I wondered.
Like we say on the label to start with a quarter teaspoon once a day for 2 or 3 days, and then increase by a quarter every 2 or 3 days, because, you know, you've got cells in your body that don't even know what to do with magnesium. So they're not letting it into the cells. I don't know exactly what's happening, but we find with people who have severe magnesium deficiency, like you're describing, you have to take it slow, and it'll be fine. Your bowels will get used to it, your cells will get used to it, but you just have to go a lot slower.
I did cut back to a half teaspoon, and that seems to be working better, but I'll probably cut back more because of what you're telling me.
Well, if you make that half teaspoon last through the day and the night, you know, put it in a quart of water, don't cut back anymore. Just this way it's like a quarter teaspoon twice a day, and that should be fine, because now that you've got some of your enzymes in the body depending on the magnesium, if you cut back, your body's going to react and say, you know, where's my magnesium? So you hear what I'm saying. You don't want to do that. Okay?
Right, certainly. Okay. And my hair is falling out by the buckets.
Well, that's where you'll get on the Remite. You know, once you get the Remag going, the Remite has the 9 of its 12 minerals support the thyroid, and hair loss for the most part is low thyroid. So you'll get to that with your Remite, okay?
I was consulted a doctor who's specializing in cholesterol here in the city, and for my cholesterol and hypertension, and we talked about the thyroid nodules. So I went on 30 milligrams of Armour Thyroid. My TSH dropped dramatically, like from 4.17 down to 1.86 over a period of about 8 months.
Yeah.
And my free T3 went from 2.7 to 5.8. So now I talked to her this past week, and she said, stop the thyroid for now. And at the time I saw her, I thought because of the thyroid nodules it was a thyroid problem, because I'd had that in the past. But I'm focusing more on the magnesium because I know I've had that problem in the past, and it's probably the magnesium and not the thyroid at all. And if the magnesium starts working properly, maybe the thyroid will too. I don't know.
Yeah, magnesium is definitely needed by the thyroid, but personally, I don't know what you've already done, Jane, but you don't just stop the armor out of the blue. You cut it in quarters and then, slowly wean off because it'll, you don't want to shock your thyroid.
I know. Well, that is what I did. I just cut myself back because I hadn't seen the doctor for 6 months, and I cut it back very slowly. And
down
to
what you do is get the Remite and start taking that. You can take it at the same time as the Remag. If you've been on this thyroid, the Armor thyroid, and it gave you some thyroid hormone, and then you've weaned off it, your body, your thyroid still needs support, and the minerals in the Remite are going to support the thyroid and bring back your thyroid hormones naturally. So that's very important that you start on the Remite as soon as you can. Okay.
I've got some of it. I will. A friend of mine takes it, and so I have access to getting it right away from her.
Okay, great.
How much Remite do I?
What else?
How much Remite do I take?
It's we've written it all out. Every time you get a handout from us, I don't know if are we able to send those handouts out? Is the FDA telling us we can't tell people what to do, Ginny?
No, they just, we have to have the FDA disclaimers on them, but that's all taken care of, or is being taken care of. So just as long as it doesn't seem like the FDA thinks whatever we're saying is right.
Right. We have to say, we're telling you to do this, but the FDA doesn't like us to tell you what to do.
I know all about the FDA. I was in the medical profession for almost 40 years as a med tech. So I understand what you're saying.
So what we've written in the papers, it's much like with the Remag, Jane, a quarter teaspoon to start with, and do that for 2-3 days, and then add another quarter teaspoon, just to get your body used to it. Okay?
Right. Okay.
Good. What else?
Is this should help my hypertension, right?
Yes, when we can get you up to, 2, maybe even 3 teaspoons, the studies do show that when the smooth muscles of the blood vessels relax, they relax the arteries enough for the pressure, the blood pressure to be normalized. That's what we're working on here, relaxing the arteries so that your blood pressure doesn't have to push too hard against tight arteries. And cholesterol-wise, what's your cholesterol level?
Let me see here. I have my labs. My magnesium level was 5.8, but that was an RBC magnesium. That was done that was done in 2016. But let me see if I got my cholesterol here. It's too high. I've had elevated cholesterol since 1984. 263. My HDL is 81. My VLDL is 18. My LDL is 164. But my ratio is 3.2.
Right, not bad. Yeah, because your HDL, the good one, is good. Yeah, well, Jane, being in the medical industry, that they've been pushing down the cholesterol levels for a long time. When I was in med school, the average normal cholesterol was like 245.
Well, I remember that.
Sure. And now they want it to be 200. But there's never been a study that says that cholesterol is the cause of heart disease. So, hopefully you didn't get talked into taking a statin drug.
Oh, I did for a time, many years ago, but then I went to flax oil, and that brought it down a lot. But my HDL was never that high way back in the 80s when I started this. It's most recently, it's been up as high as 97 in May of 2019. Yeah. Ratio has been running around 2.6. It's just this last visit that
you have to go and look on the internet for people who are against cholesterol drugs and who'll give you, a more balanced story about cholesterol. Or, read my blogs, read my books, listen to
I've got the
radio show
sitting right here.
Good. Okay, hon, we're going to move on. Anything else this time?
Well, I think the only other thing, let's see here. Oh, the CREST syndrome. That's a whole other ball game I think we'll have to talk about next time. That's a scleroderma, but it's not the, you know what it is.
Why don't you email that to me, email customer support, support@rnareset.com, write out the history, and then tell customer support that I want to see that information, and we'll correspond on that. Because it's rare, so I'd rather talk to you directly about it, okay?
Certainly. Thank you for your time, Dr. Dean. And it's always
thank you, Jane. And call me Carolyn, okay?
Carolyn, and Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
I'll probably talk to you. Thank you again.
I'm thinking of the new year 2020 as being, we're going to have perfect vision about what's going on and about our health. I think 2020 is going to be a great year. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, bye, Jane.
Bye-bye.
Very good. Excellent. Love it. Perfect vision. Wonderful. Wonderful. Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. Got about another 40 minutes before we wrap up our very last radio show of this year. Carolyn, incredible.
Oh,
we're not going to be on next Monday. So that's pretty, pretty something. Gosh.
Wow. No, I don't believe it. It's a good thing we had our Customer of the Year. It's a great show. Excellent show. Thank you, everybody. Excellent year, actually.
Yeah, the year's been just amazing. Really, really, really incredible. Amazing year. So many good things. And 2020 is just going to be off the charts. I mean, we've done so much great stuff this year with our grassroots health research, which is just really powerful, and our trip to the NIH and everything we're doing with our other research project we can't talk about publicly yet because the results haven't been published, but they're really, really good. And so many fun things, getting the whole C out there, and we won't say anything about our good friend Flora Revive, but we are getting the words that she's coming around the corner. And that's really exciting, and just so many great things, so many great customers, so many people help, so much encouragement, and so many people feeling good. It's really exciting. Just a great year. Okay, let's see who's chitty-chatting with us on the chat line. I do know that we want to go back to Lana. Lana wanted to suggest that DuckDuckGo is a good browser, including Bing. So that was fun. I'd never heard of DuckDuckGo, so I will give that a whirl and see what it's like. Belinda wanted to talk about this. She said, Dr. Dean, my 87-year-old mom recently had to go to the eye doctor to have an exam. The purpose of the exam was to prove she could see well enough to drive. She took her blood pressure the night before, and it was 120/70, as it usually is. And the following morning at the doctor's office, it was way up. And she was annoyed and told the doctor that the blood pressure was due to him. He didn't believe her. She said she doesn't recall the outcome, but fortunately her mom is not the type to take the doctor's comments lying down. So why are they taking your blood pressure at the eye doctor?
Well, they think everybody over the age of 60 has high blood pressure. I mean,
really?
Seriously. Oh, yeah. I mean, when in the blog you did today, 50 million people in America have high blood pressure, so it's standard. Oh, yeah, she's probably got high blood pressure. And they make such a big deal of it, and the white coat syndrome will drive it up. And in terms of an eye exam, if your blood pressure is high, it can affect your eyesight, but that would be a very high blood pressure. And it's standard. I mean, anytime anyone goes to a doctor, they do blood pressure. Sometimes they take temperature. Sometimes they take weight. I know the last time I went with a friend, and I think they did it to me once too, they took my blood pressure over my clothes. I had a sweater on. They wouldn't even wait for me to undress my arm. So they were taking the blood pressure of my clothing. And I was fully clothed and put on the weight scale. It's like, stop this. I am not that weight. And it's all recorded.
Oh, my gosh. That's hilarious. Yeah. That is so hilarious. I know. There's something you got to have a good sense of humor about. Okay, Susie typed in. She said, I wonder if Dr. Dean could say something about low blood pressure. I know it's less common, but my husband is 71, and his blood pressure is on the low side. He gets occasional episodes like this morning after working out. He was in our far infrared sauna. When he felt dizzy and faint and called to me, his blood pressure was 47/34, pulse 56. He came around after a while and was back to normal. Any comments for the solution on hypotension? He does take Remag and Remite in his water bottles.
Wow. Yeah, with low blood pressure, I mean, that is related to it can be related to an athletic heart, low pulse rate and low blood pressure. And but I'm wondering about the saunas. I'm wondering if he's getting too much heat, the stress of heat. You hear about people who they're going in hot tubs, cold tubs, the shock treatment, they can have low blood pressure. Think of it this way: the blood vessels are a certain diameter, and if your body is heated up, even internally, you will heat your body up. I mean, just think of it: if you're in a jacuzzi, which Ginny has the best jacuzzi in the world, but anyway. You can get lightheaded because your blood vessels dilate, and if you're standing up, the blood will drop down to your legs and out of your head and make you feel dizzy and woozy. Now, for someone who has a standard low blood pressure, you really do have to be drinking half your body weight in water with the sea salt, half your body weight in ounces of water with the sea salt, and be really careful about that, and not be doing too much sauna-ing. I mean, people with low blood pressure, they can be lying down and get up quickly and feel dizzy. So, not knowing too much at all about anything, I'm just generalizing here. So hopefully those are enough words. But we do know with people who have underactive autonomic immune system, they can have low blood pressure and poor circulation. does not sound like her husband, but magnesium is supposed to balance the blood pressure. It'll treat a low blood pressure and also treat a high blood pressure. Anyway, I'm kind of running around in a bit of a circle there because I don't have all the information. If Susie wants to write more to customer service about that, I can see to it.
Okay, excellent. All right, so let's press on first of all and say that Super Dougie said hello. This is the last time this year Super Dougie can say thank you for all the wonderful shows from Jenny and Carolyn. Thank you, Super Dougie. It's always fun to have. He's such a faithful listener. Hold on.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, Joe typed in a little earlier and I lost this part. She's asking about left anterior fascicular block, LAFB, an abnormal condition of the left ventricle of the heart, and she wants to know if magnesium will help, and if so, how.
If you're talking about heart block, there are some studies that talk about the various arrhythmias and heart blocks, but you have to be careful because if magnesium slows down the part of the heart that's already blocked, that can be a contraindication. So you'll really have to do some research on it. Left anterior fascicular block is an abnormal condition of the left ventricle related to, but distinguished from, left bundle branch block. I've seen more studies on left bundle branch block. It's caused by only the anterior half of the left bundle branch being defective. It is manifested on the EKG by a left axis deviation. So we don't know what causes these bundle branch blocks. It can be a little scar tissue around the line of this. I don't even know. It's not a nerve system even. I'm just looking it up here. It's like the line through which the electrical conductivity travels gets blocked or delayed. Now, personally, I would think that getting your minerals in balance is going to help that, because it's like if the electrical conductivity, if the electrical activity is not being conducted properly, then you'd want all your electrolytes to be in good balance and in high enough amounts to make that happen. But you see, the problem is that there haven't been enough studies. They just don't put the money into studying magnesium for these various blocks. So people are sort of left to their own devices. And that's all I can say. Sorry, Joan. No definitive answer for you. Okay, very good. Now, we know, do we know this? I mean, it's not going to hurt to take Remag, right? No, and that's again why we say a quarter teaspoon to start and see how you feel. Like I said earlier, in someone who's got a very slow heart rate, in the beginning, the magnesium might make you feel it's slowing it down a little more. This is where, in the contraindications, people who have a slow heart rate and block, they may need a pacemaker. And I will tell people that, look at the pacemaker possibility, because if you get a pacemaker, then your heart will never go below a certain pulse rate, and you can take magnesium and the other minerals to heal the heart and heal the electrolyte imbalance. So this is where the pacemaker technology may come into play. Very good. Excellent. Very, very excellent and thorough response from Dr. Dean. Absolutely wonderful.
Okay, let's see. What are the things? I think we're caught up.
Hey,
Nancy and I were
Carolyn.
sitting
There's Bob. Oh, there's Bob. Bob, in the last show of the year, Bob turned up. Yay.
Yeah, did you hear the statement that the Supreme Court decided that Obamacare is unconstitutional? Did you hear about that?
I did.
Do you want to say anything about that? Is that a fact yet? What do people do about that?
I have no idea. I have never understood Obamacare or anything else because I think all this business about health care funding is funding drugs and surgery. Until they start talking about funding alternatives to drugs and surgery, I'm not interested.
Right. So are you going to get out of Obamacare?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know yet if anybody has a question about it.
No.
You don't understand.
I don't think anybody. I don't understand it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to waste radio time on it. That's for your show, Bob. And once again, Bob blows it on my show.
Yep.
Ask the question.
It's a final intervention by Bob, disrupting the show for this year. I'll be back in January for more relevant disruptions.
Thank you, Bob.
Happy New Year.
Okay, Jenny, back to you.
Happy holiday, Jenny.
Oh, thanks, Bob. Happy holidays to you, too. Are you doing a show this Tuesday night?
Not
Christmas
Tuesday.
Eve?
No. Bill takes New Year's Eve, Christmas Day or something off. He's not there Tuesday. Tomorrow. He won't be there.
But you'll be on Saturday, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll be back, breaking all boundaries of human attention on that date.
Excellent. A wonderful endeavor, Bob. Highly esteemed.
Yes. Thank you, Jenny.
You're welcome. Okay, Joe says she's taking 3 teaspoons of Remag a day. Her high rate is usually 57 to 76. So that's what Joe said about her LAFT.
Oh, so she's fine. She's fine, and I don't know that it'll heal this right bundle branch block. Personally, I'd be doing the whole bundle. I'd be doing the Remide, taking the Realign for detoxing, and the RNA reset drops to get the RNA helping the DNA make perfect cells to heal whatever needs to be healed in the body. I would do it all.
I agree. Yeah. Okay. And Restructure, which is great, and it's got great assets, silica. Mm-hmm. It's got the immune system boosting, and the Whole C, which is cardiovascular. Any cardiovascular issue should be on Whole C, Remag, Realign, boom, bam. I mean, no questions asked. Because the Realign has the taurine, the Whole C is so important for cardiovascular, blood cell integrity, health, and when you get into the heart, all those little assets running around in there, it's very important. Yeah. Agree. Okay, Carolyn, did you want to do some emails?
Sure. Great. All righty. Now, here's a question that came in. I thought I'd talk it through. Someone says, why is magnesium listed as one of the supplements to stop taking prior to surgery? I cannot function without it for 2 weeks prior to surgery. And I wrote back and said, I can't believe they recommend that. Now, what we know is magnesium helps keep calcium from building up in the blood, and calcium is a blood clot former. So maybe they're thinking of that. But gosh, in the Magnesium Miracle book, I talk about one of these surgeons who puts everybody on intravenous magnesium during surgery and has incredible results. Magnesium deficiency is responsible for people getting arrhythmias during surgery when their magnesium really tanks out from all the stress. So I just can't believe that they're listing magnesium as something to stop. It just shows just the blatant almost criminality of allopathic medicine against supplements. It just knows no bounds. Okay, the next is a question and a testimonial. After almost being killed in different ways by 3 different AFib medications. I've been drug-free and almost symptom-free for more than 2.5 years after I found out about your wonderful Remag and read your book. To control the AFib, I needed 6 teaspoons for more than a year before my bowels started to loosen a bit. The next year I cut back to 3 teaspoons with good results, but the last 6 months the maintenance dose had to be cut to 2.5 teaspoons, and more recently 2/4 teaspoons a day. Sometimes less, or I get chronic diarrhea. If I cut the magnesium too low, I start to get muscle cramps and AFib events, but my bowels normalize, etc., etc. Healthy diet. RBC test was 4.5. We want it to be around 6. Now, he says, have I reached my magnesium saturation? Do you have advice? So that's where we sent him information about psyllium seed powder, sipping through the day, all that business, probiotics. Must be on a probiotic because, once you start getting frequent diarrhea, you do flush out your good bacteria, and if you don't replace them, then the diarrhea can continue. So, that's really important. If you get loose bowels, we have an FAQ that describes what to do to make sure that you keep your bowels in good shape. He says, incidentally, my wife takes Remag for anxiety, and it is extremely calming. We both take half a teaspoon of Remite twice a day, which is also a good product. And I've started experimenting with Pico Silver for digestive issues. So, yeah, he needs our Flora Revive, which, yes, will be out in the new year. My wife found out about Remag by chance from the manager of a local seniors residence who said many of their residents are taking Remag for AFib issues. Isn't that cool? And thanks to you and Ginny and your wonderful customer service for keeping so many of us alive, healthy, and energized. Quite a challenge given our location. Now, this is Trevor down in New Zealand. So,
oh, wow.
Isn't that wonderful, Ginny?
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Well, cool.
But, yes, we have to, I don't know how to make it more accessible, the information we have on the laxative effect. Let me just take a drink of water. Okay. Alan says, I'm so excited. I have to let you know what's going on. I've been giving blood since 1970. I'm working on my 169th donation. As I've been getting older, I've been noticing that my cholesterol level has been rising. With all the misinformation that is out there about high cholesterol, I was starting to get concerned. My doctor was trying to get me on statins, but since I've been educating myself, I decided that is something I wasn't willing to do. I've read Jimmy Moore's book, Cholesterol Clarity, so I knew for sure it wasn't something I wanted. Then I started having heart palpitations. I found Dr. Dean's website, read Magnesium Miracle, ordered Remag Remite. Well, my heart palpitations stopped, and my cholesterol levels dropped. Before Remag, my cholesterol was 359. Then with the Remag, it dropped to 306. I got cheap and went with magnesium oil transdermally with Epsom salts, and my level went back up to 330. Went back on Remag, and my level dropped again to 276. So he was up at 359 now, down to 276. That's great. I can't wait to give blood again to see what it will drop to by then. I'm not worried about my cholesterol level as I had my particle count, and mostly it's the large, fluffy ones, I guess the HDL. Just wanted to let you know how excited I am. Awesome. Another testimonial. Now, this is back in 2016 where somehow I came across a whole money pit, a treasure pit. Let me see if I can condense it, though. Fantastic results in starting REMAG a couple months ago. I had bad insomnia for 15 years, tried everything short of sleeping pills, etc., etc., etc. Cramps, lower legs and feet, headaches on a regular basis. Came across your Magnesium Miracle book one day while I was on the internet, ordered it. I had started taking a magnesium supplement, didn't get much relief despite the fact I was taking 10 pills a day. Read about REMAG. I have to tell you, I started seeing results right away. The first night, I slept better than I had in a very long time. I was amazed. Played around with the dosage until I figured out that 4 teaspoons is what my body requires, etc., etc. There have been times when I slacked off my dosage a little, and my symptoms started to come back within a day. But as soon as I get back on 4 teaspoons, I went from being tired, listless, and brain dead all the time to feeling well-rested and ready to live life to the fullest. I cannot thank you enough for this fantastic product. It's been a godsend. And that was from Ed. Now, I'm going to stop and clear my throat and let Ginny say if we have any chat or phone calls.
Okay, yes, we do have a couple chats and phone calls, 602-666-6027. I don't have any raised hands now, so if you want to talk to Dr. Dean, you've got to hit *5 on your keypad, and I'll put you on the line. Tracy says she's jumping on quick tonight, late. She says, Dr. Dean, I asked for my REMAG RBC to be drawn with my annual blood work, and it came back low at 1.9. Okay, well, and but I don't have any symptoms. No, that's
serum. They
right.
lied. That's serum. That is not RBC magnesium range at all.
Yeah. You ask the RBC, Tracy, and so many times they just click off the serum and they don't do the RBC. And you know the difference because the serum range is like from 1.7 to 2.1, and the magnesium RBC range can start, around the 4s and usually go up to the 6s. So they didn't follow your request. So sorry.
Correct.
If you're super curious, though, you can do requestatest.com, and it's fast.
Or you can do the Grassroots Health to get the whole package.
Yeah, you can do the Grassroots Health, yeah.
Yeah, RBC, TSH, vitamin D, and omega-3 fatty acid test. That's much more thorough.
Yep, definitely. So you're okay, sis. You're good. You're in good shape. You don't have 1.9. If that were an RBC, we would not be having this conversation. You would not be here. Let's see. And then Joe also said she just wanted to acknowledge thanks for all the information. She is taking the whole C, the Realign, Restructure, and Pico Silver. So that's good because Pico Silver, God only knows what that little miracle worker can do. And then Susie is saying, Carolyn, that did you know that Ram Dass died on Maui yesterday?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes,
did you know him? Did you guys walk together?
No, I knew people who worked with him and around him. I've seen him at events, but no.
I spoke to him.
Bob spoke to him.
About a year ago. He seemed a little out of it, not totally focused.
Well,
he's in a wheelchair.
He had a stroke, yeah.
But he just says platitudes. He's good for the old baby boomers, but he ain't in tune with what's happening. He had to go. We're what's happening. So join in on Saturday to find the new wisdom, the new exciting
Actually,
apocalypse.
Yes, we'll talk with Ram Dass on Saturday.
That's right. We'll bring him in. That's a good point, Carol.
Yeah.
We can talk to him.
We'll ask Ion to...
Yeah, bring him in. He'll apologize. Bobby, I was so distracted talking to you last. I'm sorry. You're certainly someone who needs to be evaluated by me, so let's start now. It'll be fun, Ginny. It'll be the end of the year. We'll take all the dead people that passed this year. A lot of them did. We'll bring them all in.
That sounds like a wonderful pre-New Year's Eve party, Bob. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, all the ghosts.
Yeah.
That sounds... Have we tried to talk to Jeffrey Epstein yet?
Big news today. His Israeli Mossad partner is revealing, some guy named Stephen Hoffenberg, I'm going to read the article later tonight, he was a spy and deeply involved in everything, and this guy, well-known spy, has revealed it. And it involves Prince Andrew and the Queen. They're in trouble. A little bit of problem there.
Okay.
And this that's a little tidbit from Bob's show on Saturday. That's what you get over here. And this
is a sober hour. It is the oddball, insightful hour on Saturday. It actually goes for 12 hours, the longest radio show on the planet.
Yeah.
Been doing it for 10 years.
Bob calls this show, our show, Ginny, the Dead Bob Show.
This is the Bob Dead Show. Dead Bob Show. This is the Dead Bob Show. Bob's a dead ghost. He's not allowed on much.
That's right. Bob just haunts us in the back.
Saturday, it's a Dead Carolyn Show, because Carolyn has to try to monitor and maintain a sense of rationality, and it fails every show. Nobody listens to Carolyn. They just go nuts.
Yep. But it's a lot of fun. Okay, anything else before I go back to testimonials?
Nope, you may proceed as planned, yes.
Oh. Okay, this looks like it comes from Amazon. I bought your book, The Magnesium Miracle. I learned something else about magnesium. Too much sugar can deplete magnesium in the body, and we know that. I usually don't eat sweets, but for the upcoming holiday, I ate a lot of pumpkin pie, an entire pie, in 2 days. The morning after the second day of my pumpkin pie overeating, I woke up with muscle cramps beginning in both legs. Experiencing cramping in both legs was unusual for me before I started taking magnesium. Generally, it's only one leg, and it looks like he's just taking tablets, 250 milligrams twice a day. I need to increase the dose to 500 milligrams that morning to stop the cramps. Based on your book, he's wondering what he should take. Your book's most helpful in my understanding of magnesium. I consider it akin to a lifesaver. I've learned more about the benefits of magnesium and dosages and switching brands of magnesium periodically. I work with the elderly, do presentations on Medicare, and saving money on medications all over the country where I work and live in North Carolina. I'm going to recommend your book to all the seniors I meet in my work. 1,000 thanks. And that's from another Bob. So that's interesting. Of course, I would tell him Remag is the one to get. Here's a testimonial. I'm 74. About 7 months ago, I developed a postnasal drip. Sometime in the midst of presentations, I have to clear my throat, etc., etc. I started taking magnesium for leg and foot cramps, and then I noticed I did not have to clear my throat as much. I suspect there was a link between the magnesium and the constant throat clearing. And then reading your article, Magnesium for Asthma, made me think maybe magnesium helped with the postnasal drip. The leg and foot cramps at night are gone. I have further read that older bodies do not retain vitamins and minerals as well as younger ones. Just passing this on to you in the event it may help someone if my deduction is erroneous, or if my deduction is erroneous, but I cannot think of anything else that could have stopped the constant throat clearing. Now, what's interesting there, it's what I found more with Pico Silver, not as much with the Remag. Well, the Remag does support the detoxification processes in the body. And what I said to this person was magnesium is responsible for 80% of known metabolic function, so it's likely playing a role in cessation of your postnasal drip. Keep reading about it and you will be amazed, etc., I said. So, yes, it's going to help detoxify, and if the postnasal drip was due to yeast, then it will help that as well. This was an interesting question. I've been exploring whole food vitamin C products and had completely forgotten you have one too. I now realize I've been avoiding it because of my understanding about fruit metabolism. For years, I avoided it because when you eat fruits with other foods, the fruits aren't metabolized properly. So I said, I think you're referring to the food combining theory that you should not mix fruit and protein. However, that wouldn't make a difference with Whole Seed Reset because it's such a small amount of fruit that's involved. It's only 250 milligrams, whereas a banana of 4 ounces is 114,000 milligrams of fruit. We're talking a huge difference and not something to even worry about. You know, people will read, you shouldn't take fruit with protein, and then they think of a fruit-based vitamin C is going to somehow be problematic. So we're happy to sort of dispel these myths that are abounding. 2016 testimonial. I read your topic for today's discussion. Wanted to let you know that anxiety was the first fluoroquinolone toxicity problem to be alleviated when I started the REMAG and REMITE protocol. The anxiety I had was so bad that I was crying many times per day. My heart was pounding constantly. Every day I felt like I was having a heart attack. I had serious trouble falling asleep because at the moment of relaxation and drifting off, I would experience a huge adrenaline rush that felt like it was attacking my heart. They're called hypnic jerks. I found some relief taking phosphatidylserine 1 hour before bedtime. However, it didn't stop the jerking. After a couple of days of REMAG and REMITE, the anxiety has greatly diminished. After 2 weeks, I was almost anxiety-free, and the jerks were not as severe. After 1 month, anxiety-free and no jerks. I'm able to go to bed without fear, and I sleep well. I'm so grateful for your product. My other symptoms also continually improve. That's from Todd. Awesome. Another 2016 testimonial. I'm thrilled to find you and your products. I thought I would let you know I convinced my normally resistant 61-year-old husband to try REMAG REMITE to help him wean off his many meds. After being on blood pressure meds for 14 years, the side effects of the constant dry coughing was driving me and everyone crazy, so we started with that one. After being on REMAG for months, we began weaning this blood pressure med. After 2 weeks, he was completely off it. Now he's been off it for 2 months. He tracks his blood pressure several times a week, and even when stressed at work, it runs 107 to 120 over 64 to 84. Yahoo! We still have a ways to go with weaning off some other things, but he's now a true B-REMAG lever. His doctor says he should be on it for life. I say, no way. We need to figure this out differently. I love the REMAG, REMITE, and restructure for myself. No meds to wean off, but it's helping me with leg cramps, sleep, arm tingling, etc. Trying to deal with the weight loss lifetime struggle still, but everything takes time. I also have convinced 8 friends to use REMAG, and they love it too. I'm an RN of 30 years and have always struggled with the mainstream medical model that seemed to hurt patients more than help them. I'm always laughed at by my colleagues for doing natural childbirth, breastfeeding, vitamin D, vitamin C, homeschooling, and now REMAG. However, they are all on several meds and headed down the standard road to feeling worse. Thanks for any insight you might have about the other meds weaning process. And that's from Cheryl. So that's awesome. I mean, that's where, I talk about being called a health nut when I was younger and going to health food store and eating a salad, making my own yogurt. I would come into my med school class and get harassed for making my own yogurt, and that went on until the dean of students, Dr. Fraser, came in and asked me for my recipe for yogurt in front of the class. But anyway, I would rather be a healthy health nut than a dead non-health nut. Right, Ginny?
I'd rather be a sick health nut than a dead non-health nut. Yes, no, I agree. I agree. Absolutely. No, you have a very long history of making the very best choices, Carolyn. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And dancing to your own drum and being your own unique expression of amazingness on the face of this earth. So I always toast you in that regard. Okay, so everybody wants to say good night and happy holidays, Belinda and all of our good friends, and we appreciate everyone so much, and David, of course, who's always here, and so many of our other great customers, and callers, Rita. I mean, everybody. We have so many great people who listen every single week. Hey,
Ginny,
of course.
I posted a link to Carolyn, her first time on TV in November '86. And she makes this brilliant statement about McLuhan and Discarnate Man, and you maybe want to excerpt that part. It's already on your YouTube thing, but this particular part is amazing. 33 years ago, Carolyn shows how smart she is.
You put it on the chat line?
Yeah, the link. You go to part 3 at 7 minutes and 27 seconds.
Yeah, I saw it on your Facebook page. Very good. Well, that is a wonderful way to end the year and to end this show. And thank you, everybody, for your constant devotion and for sharing the good word. And, Carolyn, thank you for all you do for everyone so consistently, every single day with such ease and grace. And your beautiful husband, Bob, who we all love and adore.
Thank you. And what are our Christmas hours? I should have asked that. I mean, people can still order for New Year's presents. You really have to stock up on Remag for all your friends and family, because you know what they're going to be going through over the holidays.
Thank you very
much. That's right.
People.
And you know, we never close, Carolyn. We're always doing something. So anybody can order
Yay!
it. Yay!
On your ministry, Ginny. You do a great ministry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Ginny. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, listeners.
And Cheryl.
1959 or so, when I was around 10 years old, my father bought a television. And I said, Dad, don't bring that into the house. It's going to change the whole family structure. It's going to change the neighborhood. Already a bunch of people in the neighborhood have